To be honest, I'm telling you that if you're watching all these glow up series about changing your appearance, you will get nowhere. That is not how you're going to curate that life, just by getting some pretty privilege. And here is the actual way that I upgraded my life completely through my favorite books. I went from being a teenage girl who is literally only boy obsessed, I'm guilty, and then transformed after a breakup to now this woman who gets to sit on panels and have talks. I feel as if I'm someone who's listened and respected, and honestly, the way you can change and level up is through reading and through knowledge. Like, just constantly be looking and searching for that knowledge, because it is the thing that will save you, not your appearance. That's why today I want to show you some of my absolute favorite books from self-help categories, so that you guys can find different ways to level up your life like I am this summer. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Lana, and I do study abroad videos and lifestyle content, and that's why this summer I'm working on myself to absolutely glow up. And that way I also mean it's time for me to go back to reading some good old self-help books. If you guys watched the first episode, yes, I'm wearing my natural hair, finally, right? It took me a while, but this is my first video with my natural hair, so you can check out the first part of the Glow Up series where I do work on my appearance a little bit with my haircut. I think that reading these books has been the ultimate summer activity lately, and I have found myself stuck in them reading forever. And once I actually started reading these books, I can tell you that I actually started gaining more genuine friends and just ultimately felt like a more successful person with so much more confidence. So I can tell you now that if you're looking for something to do out in the summer sun, you should definitely pick up one or two of these books. 3 sections in this video. The first one is going to be suggestions of different books in different categories, along with some honorable mentions. Then I'm going to tell you how to find the perfect book for you. And then finally, I am going to teach you how to make the most of these books. And let me tell you, I am your girl to go to, because I have made so many contacts, so many networks, so much confidence building out of these books, and that is because I know how to make the most of them. So I'm not going to let you get away, because I'm the queen of annotating books. So I'm going to show you exactly what you need to be doing to make sure that you didn't just read and then it slips out of your mind and it will stick with you. Influence. This is actually my favorite category of books, and that's why I'm suggesting the best author and my personal favorite author when it comes to self-help books, which is Dale Carnegie. This is the first book I read in self-help, and I love the influence category because I love the way you can start to understand people better and make better friends, and just ultimately you're creating all of these different connections, which are super interesting, and you get to actually watch all of these tactics work. So I really suggest How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and I will suggest more of his books later on. One thing that I love so much is that he's great for beginners, and then also you can really try any of the advice you get from this book on anyone and see if it works. I literally let everybody borrow this book as well, and what makes it so easy for beginners to follow along as well is the fact that you have all of these principles that come at the end of every chapter. So basically you can put all of these together and you get one big summary sheet with all of the principles on them. And that allows you to kind of always be able to look back at it and to use it. And the way they allow you to digest this book is so nice. It has so many stories and so many examples of people actually using it and succeeding as well. So I really suggest, if you're a beginner, you're looking for a way to start making new connections, new friends, or just understand people better, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you're looking for another great suggestion in the influence category, my latest read, Influence is Your Superpower by Zoe Chance, has been an amazing book to go through. So go ahead and pick up that as well as your honorable mention for this category. Habits. So for the habit section, I am definitely recommending what is probably a really known book. Not even probably, I know everyone has read it or wants to read it, but it's on your list for a reason. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, one thing I absolutely love about this book is the fact that you can follow along with really great graphs and as well these kind of chapter summaries. So you have a lot you can build on and use. I still have all of the journaling prompts that he gives within the book in my notebook to this day. And if you're new to habit building and habit stacking, or you're somebody who feels like they know about habits but hasn't actually had the chance to implement them, this book is an absolutely great motivator to get you into those first steps and to see that building good habits and breaking bad habits maybe is easier than you think. So Atomic Habits is definitely a go-to. If you're looking for another suggestion within the habits category, I have another book that I absolutely love by Stephen R. Covey, which is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So I would definitely suggest picking up these two books if you're looking to build more habits and making good changes. Romance. So I'm putting this as like a romance category, not relationships, because of the fact that you can probably use Dale Carnegie as a relationship guideline as well. But specifically for romance, I have a good couple recommendations, but the first one that I think is easiest to recommend is Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man by Steve Harvey. I also just wanted to give a big name out there so that you guys can actually read something from somebody who is well known and not just an author that you're like, who is this? Or like, who is this Harvard businessman? But everybody knows Steve Harvey. So this is a fun book due to the fact that there is actually a lot of journaling prompts. So what it ends up doing is being kind of this guideline that allows you to understand better what you want in a partner, but also allows you to gain a lot of your self-respect and setting boundaries, which are super important in relationships no matter what age or where you are in life. So I think this allows you to set those good intentions, but it's also super important because it puts you down the right path, because if you don't know what you're looking for, then you're not going to end up in the right relationships. Now for my honorable mention, I actually have two, because I can tell you the internet goes crazy for either of these books. Just look them up on TikTok, I swear to God. And the first one is Why Men Love Bitches by Sherry Argov. I'm so sorry if I didn't say that right. My other suggestion in this category is by Dolly Alderton, who's also known for a lot of other great self-help books, but this one I know left an impact on a lot of other people, which is Everything I Know About Love. So there's literally always that joke, like, once you read this, you're never getting your girl back, and I can say that that is absolutely accurate. So go ahead and pick up any of these three books if you're looking for a new perspective on relationships and your dating life. Mental health. So this is a category I tried to find some really good recommendations on, but honestly just ended up going back to my classic Dale Carnegie, which is How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. This book changed my life, and it changed my perspective on stress and how to deal with worrying, because it truly highlights how you're ruining your life by stressing so much. So I adored this book, and it was honestly one of my all-time favorite reads. And you see all of these stories from his friends, his students, just people who sent in letters, and even himself about stress and how to deal with it. He's the best for a reason, so I'm telling you, pick up his book. And he did a lot of research prior to making sure writing this book. So if you're looking for a new perspective, or wondering why your life seems so stagnant, or you're someone who's very anxious all the time, I'm telling you, this book can literally change your perspective. And for our final section, it is success. So what I find the best book that I read, which is actually my second book that I read for success, and is a great beginners. So if you've never read before any self-help books and you're not sure you're going to even be interested, Joanne Poseidon's The Way Success Works is a fun read. I literally, as I've mentioned before, the first pages of my manifestation journal actually come from this book. One of my favorite activities in it is one of the first ones she makes you do, which comes from one of her workshops, which is to write a bucket list of 100 things. And she shows you how difficult that actually is. And honestly, I still have my bucket list to this day, and things on that bucket list are actually being crossed off all the time. So there are so many good journaling prompts that will get you going from the book to pen and paper all the time. That helps a lot retain everything that she says. And you also can easily follow along because she's using this story of an orange tree, which is super entertaining and allows you to really gain that perspective of how success works. So now you have this general idea of different books that you can pick up, but always there's great suggestions on Goodreads and on all of these other book suggesting websites. Sometimes I literally just scroll through TikTok for a new read. Now I'm going to explain better on how to find the perfect book for you. First is you want to go ahead and read a lot of reviews. You want to make sure that that book is for you and that you're seeing other people have made the most of it as well. I'm always a little bit skeptical to just pull a random book off of the self-help category because I'm never sure if I'm actually going to like it or not. So this is a good way to make sure that you do fall in love with the book that you're reading and that you actually have the motivation then to do the activities that are in those books, or to make sure that you want to annotate them and make the most out of them. I think splitting up the books into different categories is another great way to go ahead and do this, which is kind of how I've done it in this video. So making sure that you have, if you're interested right now in building better habits, that you're looking for habit books. If you're looking for mental health books and wanting to improve your stress levels, or maybe you're looking to diet and eat better, then there are all of these different categories of self-help. Like honestly, it's just this big rainbow of different types of books you can get. So you really want to nitpick on what categories you're interested in. What type of areas in your life do you want to improve? Is it your career? Is it your mental health? Is it going and making better and bigger friends? Then that's totally up to you, and those two ways are going to allow you to pick books that you're actually motivated to read. Now, my queen time is here to shine for how I actually make the most out of these books, which is where I am the best. So if you've stuck around for this long, you're about to make the most of this video, because I can give you all these book suggestions. I can tell you here and say, read your summer read list. But to be honest, the best way that you're actually not going to just throw away a good book like this is to actually try to make the most of it. First thing I love to do is annotating. I have all of these little stickies that I get from the store, and I'm sure you've seen a million of other ones similar on Pinterest. And whenever I'm reading, I literally just have these two things handy with me all the time. You can pick different colors for different categories, and then I always have a pen with me to kind of jot down my thoughts as I'm reading, or if I want to come back to something, I sticky note it. And then also having a highlighter, so making sure that you're taking the most as you're reading. Just go ahead and write how you feel, write what you think, write a story that how it relates to you or what it reminds you of. So then that way, if you ever go back to read the book, which you should, you actually have a genuine idea of what you are searching for in this book and how in the first place it made you feel. So when you come back and you feel like that you need that boost, you know exactly where to go looking. My second suggestion is to make a summary sheet. Yes, am I acting like we are in the 4th grade? Absolutely. But the thing is like I've said, if you don't want to forget and you actually want to make the most of these books, a summary sheet is the way to go. I like to add mine literally right next to my vision board and to all of my other pictures that inspire me to build a better life for myself. Find the main key parts of the book as well, and you will do this as you're highlighting and annotating. And then go ahead, when you finish a book or when you finish a chapter or a couple chapters, go ahead and start adding to that summary sheet. So that way in a year or 2 years, if you need some influence advice because you're going in for a job interview, then you can go back and look at it and see what you can change in your life. The third suggestion has been kind of obvious throughout this whole video, but it's to go back to these books often. I understand, like, nobody really wants to read 400 pages again, and to be honest, I don't either. That's why trying to make the most of it through a summary sheet or through annotating really helps, because you should be going back to these books often enough. Going back to them also allows that you're actually making a habit of using these techniques. You can actually make the most and make sure that these books are useful to you and building the better life that we've been talking about this whole video. Bunnies, here we are. I've given you a stack of books that you can read when you're feeling like it. Add it to your summer list, add it to your 2024 reading list, whatever it may be. I'm hoping that you were able to grab something out of this video. And just to remind you that glowing up is not only about how you look on the outside, but we also have to cultivate a beautiful mind and a beautiful personality to make the most of that pretty privilege that you gained, or even just to make yourself 10 times more charming, because I'm telling you, that is the way to go. And if you read at least half of these books, you will completely upgrade your life. So join me this summer as I keep trying to do all of these different activities to make sure that I have a summer glow up and I come back this school year looking and feeling 10 times better. If you have any more suggestions for anybody, please write them in the comments. We are always open to them. This will not be the last episode of the series, so make sure you hit that subscribe. And as I've said like a million times already, get it out, Lana. I hope you enjoyed. Bye, bunnies.